Hey, YouTube, what's up? It's So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. I'm going to click record for the podcast version of this. So just saying a quick hello. Also, this is going to be a Southern Charm recap, and it's also going to have some news stories up top, like the podcast. You're just missing the mashup I play. So here we go. Welcome to your Tuesday episode of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is Ryan. How are you guys doing today? How was the re-entry to the week from the weekend? I hope it was good. We are already on fire in terms of pop culture stories. It's 6 o'clock here, and I was like, part of me is like, I want to wait till 10 o'clock to record this because I believe like 4 other pop culture stories are going to happen, but will be what the Wednesday or the Thursday show is for, you know? So what you heard was a mashup of Nine Inch Nails and Carly Rae Jepsen. Carly Rae Jepsen, I think, is one of the most underrated pop singers of all time. I think she is so many bops. Her new album comes out in October. I'm very excited about it. And if you listened to the show yesterday, you know that I went and saw Nine Inch Nails on Saturday night in downtown Los Angeles, and it blew me away. And what fascinates me about Trent Reznor, I mean, so many things, the lead singer of Nine Inch Nails, was that he created all of that music by himself at first. And then he eventually moved it to a band for live performances. But that was all done from him, like all of the computer is, I don't know, it blows me away. So artistry, music. Okay, you guys, let's get into it. Something happened today that I did not think we would see. It has been 23 years. I'm still blown away. And of course, I am talking about Adam Levine from Maroon 5 finally getting caught cheating on his wife. No. We'll get into that in a second. Oh, Adam. No, of course, I'm talking about Adnan Syed from the popular podcast Serial, which we talked about yesterday. We've had Rabia Chowdhury on the show before, who has been by his side fighting this case for the last 23 years. And he was released today from prison after 23 years. They are still going to have to go through another trial. He is released on his own reconnaissance. And it was just, no matter where you stand on this case, it was truly fascinating watching him walk out those doors after 23 years. I mean, put yourself in those shoes. I mean, I remember that West Memphis 3 case. They were freed, and one of the gentlemen his eyesight had deteriorated so bad in prison that he was think about the adjustment from a certain type of lighting, a certain type of cell, a certain type of day to day, and then throwing 2022 into the mix, walking outside, being able to stay outside as long as you can. There was footage, actually, you guys, of him going to where he's staying. I think it's is it his parents' place? And they had, he was going in and getting leftovers out of the fridge. And I'm just like, imagine that after tasting prison food for 23 years, being able to have, what did that leftover taste like? I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, this guy's about to have the worst stomach ache of his life after reintroducing like normal food after prison food. But it truly is shocking. So here's the information that I have. I want to read some of this to you. Sandra had taken some notes for me for the show, and I just think this is so fascinating. So Adnan is released under house detention. The state has 30 days to drop the charges or do a new trial. The state is also waiting for DNA results to come back. Adnan's statement to his new attorney, Erica Suter from the Innocence Project, which if you have not looked up what the Innocence Project does, it is just an amazing organization that really goes in there and goes through these cases and think, these are wrongful convictions, and really puts in the time and resources to fight to get these people freed. Adnan's statement is, quote, "I can't believe it's real." He's looking forward to spending time with his family. His mom and brother, along with Rabia, were in court today. The dad, we think, is too sick. Sarah Koenig, who you might remember that name, she was the host of the Serial podcast, and did that gripping first season of Serial. She was there, even though speculations are going around that she told Rabia she didn't believe in Adnan's innocence, and hashtag free Adnan followers were not happy to see Sarah there. Lots of bad comments, I guess, in the live chat. So Rabia and Colin Miller will host a new podcast under Undisclosed. Now, Rabia did my podcast less than a year ago. I think I might re-release that episode maybe on Wednesday, because it's fascinating just to think how much can change in 1 year and how little has changed in 22 or 23 years. It's just wild. So they'll be going through serial episodes about Adnan together, I guess, in this new podcast. So the Baltimore Sun, we're talking about what is the new evidence that secured this release. The motion from the office of Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby focused on two alternative suspects who prosecutors now say were prematurely overlooked by the authorities investigating Lee's homicide. And that's, of course, the victim, Hyman Lee. And we really, that is one of those things, is that, a lot of people that are pro Adnan are very excited right now. Of course, how could you not be? But we have to remember who we always need to honor the victim as well, or at least that's my opinion, is that we're all here because there was a girl murdered by somebody. The two suspects may be involved individually or may be involved together, prosecutors wrote. One suspect threatened to kill Lee, according to the motion. Prosecutors wrote that they discovered that information in the trial file of the original assistant state attorney, but that it was not disclosed to the defense. That's a violation of law, and prosecutors now say the information could have been paramount importance to Syed's defense at trial. Prosecutors say the joint investigation revealed the alternative suspects had documented records of violence towards women, including several convictions for crimes that occurred after Syed's trial. One suspect was convicted of a series of rapes, according to court papers. One suspect was convicted of attacking a woman, and one suspect was accused of forcibly confining a woman. So that would definitely stir up reasonable doubt, right? And that was hidden. That was in the original case file, which now I'm fascinated how, so the Innocence Project, I'm guessing, got access to these case files at some point. Think about this, and found something, a scrap of paper. Your mind just kind of just blows up thinking about, I've got goose pimples. People say when I goosebumps, but I like to say goose pimples to annoy people. But it really does. Just think about that. Adnan, to his credit, has proclaimed his innocence the entire way through. I've got to admit, there have been times when I remember listening to the serial the first time and going, it's got to be him, but this is really damning. And this is why the prosecutors were very smart to say, yeah, we'll leave you on house arrest. We'll get you out of prison for the time being, because they may have really they've already really messed up. If they truly ignored that, and after he went to prison, these two additional suspects actually did rape and attack women and confine women. Wild. Wow. But I really urge you guys to go check out that video of him walking out of the court. I just can't imagine, and if you followed any of this or the documentary on HBO or Rabia's podcast or anything, I can't wait to hear what his family has to say, because that just, they've always stood by him. So what an amazing development. We talked about it on Monday's show, where I talked about the possibility of that happening today, but it truly did happen. Now, Hyman Lee's family, unfortunately, there's always kind of like, they said they were notified a week ago that this was in the works, but they tried to file a motion to kind of stall Adnan's release, saying that they didn't have enough time, but they were turned down on that motion because they did have a week. So who knows, because this is the pain of they're having to relive, of course, of their daughter, their beautiful daughter, a very smart woman that was murdered brutally. And I can't imagine what that pain's like, to have to relive again and again and again. But if he is innocent, he does not belong in prison, period. So we'll keep you updated. And, this is so interesting, because you're like, Ryan, why are you talking about this? Well, This to me is one of the first sign markers or posts or whatever you want to call it, where we started making pop culture intersect with true crime. I was talking about West Memphis 3 and the documentaries yesterday on the podcast, but much earlier than Serial. And, you know, it was kind of like the independent film, even though it was on HBO and not a lot of people knew about it. You had stars getting involved in the West Memphis 3 case, but a lot of people still don't know, you know, who the West Memphis 3 are. But Serial was the first one, and it was the first platform podcast, God forbid, where it just kind of exploded. My ex wrote me today, and she sent me the Variety article and said, I remember you making me listen to this on a drive to Arizona for Thanksgiving. And we had just devoured all the episodes. And then when we came back each week, we did listen to the new episode, and we were just, I mean, I was obsessed about this. And I mean, I remember going on, I mean, this is so funny. I don't really go on Reddit, but I remember creating, I think, a Reddit account. I don't know. I think it was like LCD Fan One or something, LCD Sound System Fan or something, but just to read the theories, because it was also one of the first times that became, you know, where we were crowdsourcing information, that we were seeing that these fans of things actually are some of the smartest people that, you know, you guys out there listening. I mean, some of the big, like, and the patience to go through this material. Remember the Best Buy payphone? Remember, I mean, speaking of Adam Levine, Payphone, he wrote that hit song. So he's had bad taste, I mean, a long time, Adam Levine. Well, like I said, we'll get to him in a second. But so why I'm talking about this is because it is very interesting how we now devour true crime as pop culture. There's almost, the line has been completely erased now for what we, I don't want to say derive entertainment from, but a little bit. I mean that actually, though, because we get into this. There's an enjoyment factor that I think we would be remiss not to admit to ourselves. You know, we feel comfortable when it's on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or a reality show, because there is this, you know, there's a wall up still between that and this. But when you get into true crime and stuff, the wall kind of disappears a little bit, because we're hearing a real life story. You know, we can still argue that on reality, things are kind of just, you know, produced in a way. And when you're going back and piecing together a story of something that happened, and especially in that Serial podcast, it really is fascinating. Your mind just kind of goes ablaze with the possibilities. I just remember that. And I don't know where I stand on true crime or any of this as entertainment, but it is fascinating that it's something that I really not enjoy talking about, but I find it fascinating. I mean, it really is something. It's really interesting to me. I don't know, but it's also interesting how we react to these things. So Adnan Syed as at home right now, probably eating his guts out. I mean, I mean, who knows? I mean, what do you do? How do you, I mean, do you think he's going to watch Dancing with the Stars with Teresa Giudice tonight on Disney Plus? Do you think they even have Disney Plus? You got to explain streaming to Adnan. He's not been around for Netflix. He's going to literally have his mind blown tonight. Are you going to show him what if Adnan tomorrow is like, okay, the first night, great. Had a very special night with my family. Secondly, watch some TV. Erica Jane, you need to give back those earrings. You got to give back the earrings. Okay. It's not right. You know, we get it. They were yours, but they never really were yours because, like, and he winks at the camera. I'm very interested to hear how he's going to spend this next 30 days and if the prosecutors will refile. I'm really curious what happens, because with the West Memphis 3, they had to take an Alford plea, and the Alford plea, they did this in the Staircase as well. That case, which we just saw reenacted, or, the fictional version of on HBO this past year, the Alford plea says that you accept guilt, but that you have done your time and you promise not to sue the state. I mean, that's what the West Memphis Three took that deal, because they were like, it's this or we might die in here. So they took the Alford plea, which says, okay, yeah, we are guilty of this, but we will get released right now. And now the guy in the staircase, he was like, I won't accept an Alford plea, damn it. I won't do that, But that is what this is. So I'm curious, because the state would then be, I would assume, liable for 22 years of a man's life. I don't know. These are all just questions that I'm sure we will find out so many answers to in the upcoming days, but really, really interesting. I'm blown away by this, truly. And a lot of you guys probably feel the same way, because I just remember this story just being so gripping. The HBO documentary was gripping as well. Robbie is undisclosed. The first season was amazing. And then you also had, what was the other, the HBO documentary? I mean, so many things, but that podcast, it was just one of those. It was one of the, also just the first times that we realized the power of podcasting. And now we've come down to the gutter of So Bad It's Good, baby. It set the tone. Okay, let's move on to somebody that we can make fun of, because that is just too serious. I've got a payphone. That's my Adam Levine, you guys. How dumb can Adam Levine be? Now, if you look at the tattoos on his body, I know what you're saying. Very dumb, right? Or if you're like, oh, how can the guy that wrote Moves Like Jagger be an idiot? I don't know, right? Amazing lyrics. I've got them moves like Jagger, got them moves like Jagger. That man can't be an idiot. Well, guess what, folks? It looks like he is potentially an idiot, unless this is an elaborate hoax, which, my God, if it is, hats off. So this is the headline. A model 23 claims she had a year-long affair with married Maroon 5 frontman's Adam Levine, 43, and he asked if he could name his unborn third child with supermodel Bahati Prinsloo after her. His wife is a Victoria's Secret model. Her name is Bahati. It literally has hottie in her first name. This motherfucker, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you a little story about Adam Levine. I remember seeing him, I think in 2005, I was working at Burke Williams, which is a massage place, a fancier massage place in California. And he opened up, I saw John Mayer and Counting Crows together at the Staples Center, which is now the crypto.com arena. How times have changed. But anyways, Maroon 5 opened up for them. And this was around their hit album. What was it? Songs About Jane, or This Love Has Taken Its Toll. Anyways, back then he had a very Matthew McConaughey hairline. And if you know what I mean by that, it's that there was a period of time where Matthew McConaughey was desperately losing his hair. We were watching movies where we were literally just paying attention. I would pay attention just watching his hair fight to stay on his head. You were just like, I'm just too distracted. It's like Jude Law, how we've watched that strip, the Jude Law strip of hair right down the middle. Like we've watched Jude Law now for decades fight to keep that, and he is winning the battle, folks. But Matthew McConaughey, all of a sudden, we watched him fight for years, and then all of a sudden he had a huge, glorious, full head of hair. All of a sudden, we didn't question it really. Now, I remember Adam Levine coming into Burke Williams the day after, like the week after he had done that concert at Staples Center. And I liked him. I liked that album. And that's actually still my favorite Maroon 5 album. I think a lot of it, the rest of it's junk, but that's just my opinion. Everybody can like what they want. He came in, and this poor man at the time, because this was before they got really famous, he was suffering from Matthew McConaughey hair. He had like just patches, like it was like patches. And I was like, oh, well, the Lord gave him a voice, and I guess just didn't, give him hair. And then, wouldn't you know, he got Matthew McConaughey. The band got bigger, and he immediately, it has to be hair transplant. It has to be. Nobody just all of a sudden, like, nobody is like, well, you got famous. You know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to start growing hair. Like, could you imagine if all of a sudden Larry David's head just started growing hair, and he's like, this is amazing. I can't believe it. But no, it definitely has to be plugs, allegedly. I think let's say that. So that's the story, you guys. This Instagram model, her name is Sumner Stroh. Now, Sumner, 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 I mean, it is a good name. I will say to Adam's credit, Sumner, but Sumner also is a boy's name in a lot of cases. Sumner Redstone, who I believe has passed away at this point. If not, he's like got to be 100 something. He was the president of Paramount and just a real bigwig, heavy hitter in Hollywood for a while. His name was Sumner Redstone, but she posted a TikTok video posted on Monday, which I'm gonna play for you. But she shared screenshots of Instagram DMs from Levine saying, "It is unreal how fucking hot you are. Like it blows my mind." By the way, that is so classic Adam Levine. I figured, like, I'm like, wait, is that an actual Maroon 5 song? Because I could be like, "It is unreal how fucking hot you are, like it blows my mind." She goes on to say in this video, essentially, I was having an affair with a man who was married to a Victoria's Secret supermodel, she said, referring to his wife of 8 years. Sumner admitted she was young and naive at the time of the illicit relationship and was easily manipulated. Who knows what the time frame here is yet? The two lost contact for a period of months until this year, when Levine messaged Stroh again to tell her his wife is expecting their third child. Now, this is where Adam Levine makes a huge mistake. Like, you don't cheat. This is just my opinion, but I love that we're talking about Southern Charm today, because the men, I would love to get Shep and Craig and Austin's opinion on this story about Adam Levine. Because, Shep, like, he's trying to live, man. He's just trying to live his life. I mean, he's an adventurer. He's an explorer, So they lost touch, and then he DMs her to say, "Hey, I think do you mind if we use your name for our third child?" What the hell? Dude, you cheated on your wife. I don't know what the deal is, but obviously you were amicably damn, I think I'm having a stroke. Anyways, they obviously ended the affair. I don't know if it was amicable or not. And then time passes. This Adam Levine guy DMs her and says, "Hey, by the way, could we use your name for our third child?" You don't do that. You don't do that. Now, a lot of this model, who actually has an OnlyFans as well, but is, I think, a professional model on top of that. I don't know. Or an Instagram model. I don't know really what the difference is. I think the Instagram models do OnlyFans, maybe that's I'm sure somebody will explain that to me in a nasty letter tomorrow. But she's very pretty, this girl, and so is his wife. And that's the ballsiness on this guy. Is just like, wow. Didn't have a lot of hair when I saw him, but must have had huge balls. And she posted these texts, and now she got a lot of heat for this in a way too, because, of course she's a woman, right? So like, well, she's just hurting his family. She shouldn't have posted these. And I guess the reason she did post these is because one of her friends that she had sent the screenshot to tried to sell it to TMZ. And that's why it's actually not on TMZ right now. It'll probably be by tomorrow, but I think there was some negotiation thing happening, and she found out. I think TMZ potentially reached out to her and said, "Hey, we're going with this story." And she figured out that her friend had sold this. So to get ahead of this, she had made a TikTok video, as the kids do, and told her side of the story before all this got out, to kind of undermine whatever friend did this. Now, if you're thinking, "Oh, that's bullshit," she's probably making that up. No, actually, that seems pretty credible, because think about it. Think about how often we screenshot stupid shit people send us or say to us, or on dating apps. I mean, I see it all the time online. I see it all the time where you girls like, this guy just asked me for sex. Like, and I'm like, and we just met. Like, I see so many of those all the time. So of course she's going to screenshot these conversations, and of course she's going to send them to her friends. But it's just how messed up is Hollywood that there is a market for this shit, one, and I'm gladly the market that's eating it up. But two, I mean, that is a betrayal. And now she wants to get ahead of this, because listen, if it was going to come out, you would think that she would want to be able to control her narrative and not have her friend be the one to get money from it. I mean, like, God, that's so Hollywood of like, well, I know I know our friendship's over but it's worth this money to TMZ.
Band-Aid off because I've retaken this like 10 times now. Essentially, I was having an affair with a man who's married to a Victoria's Secret model. At the time, I was young, I was naive, and I mean, quite frankly, I feel exploited. I wasn't in the scene like I am now. So I was definitely very easily manipulated. Maroon 5 is practically elevator music at this point. So I'm sure you know who Adam Levine is. But Adam and I were seeing each other for about a year. After I stopped talking to him over, a period of months, this is how he came back into my life. He said, okay, serious question. I'm having another baby, and if it's a boy, I really want to name it Sumner. You okay with that? Dead serious. I was like, I'm in hell. Like, I have to be in hell at this point. I mean, my morals were unknowingly compromised. I was completely manipulated. I handled this privately. I never wanted to come forward because obviously I know the implications that come with doing what I do, making money the way I do, and being an Instagram model. So being tied to a story like this, it's like, I know the stereotypes. I had sent some screenshots recklessly to a few friends I thought I trusted, and one of them had attempted to sell to a tabloid. So here I am.
Reaching this generation.
Wow. Finally, TikTok did something good for me. But isn't that wild, you guys? So that's the story straight from her mouth. Adam Levine has not commented yet. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is I'm really happy, like I said, that we're talking about this on Southern Charm Recap today. But here's the deal. And you girls and you gay dudes out there listening, go with me on this. I know it's going to be painful and it's going to cause you some turmoil, and you're going to have to accept something that you don't want to accept. You need to stop dating hot dudes. Okay. Now you can say Adam Levine is geeky now. And, oh, look at how, I can make fun of his tattoos and all that shit. But at the end of the day, people kind of consider this dude hot. Stop with the hot dudes. If you ladies or you dudes that are into dudes see a hot dude, no, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Why? Is it? You'll have a couple years of happiness, and then you're always going to know this dude is cheating. This dude is in the DMs having year-long relationships where he's DMing this girl like, you're so by the way, one of this guy's DMs, this is how cocky he is. He goes, you're 1,000 times fucking hotter in person. And then he goes, and so am I. Like, he reminds me of the physical representation of the Christian Bale scene from American Psycho, where he's like having sex with the two women and he's just looking at himself in the mirror. That's Adam Levine, dude. That is Adam Levine. Checking it, like, amazing. And this is why listen, I'm not horrible looking. I'm not great. I'm just right there. And I thank the dear Lord every day that I am not insanely hot, because I would probably be doing the same shit as this. Listen, it seems like us guys can't get it together. These fuckers like this, and this guy thinks he's better than this guy, Craig and Shep. I'm pointing at their books for the people that are listening to this as a podcast. These guys, they're picking up Adam Levine's scraps. They're cheating right and left too. Nobody is not cheating, and we have to accept that. So I'm here to speak on behalf of us, the mid-range looking guys and just the flat out ugly guys. Why don't you try us? What's going to hurt, right? You could lose your vision any day, and then you'd be like, oh, well, now I've lost my vision. It wouldn't matter if I was with him anyways. Why not we act like you're blind now? Why not we, like, you will be so appreciated, I'm sure. If you give a mid-range, I mean, you can call the shots. You won't have to worry about situations like this potentially. Who knows? It's just my 2 cents, but I think this is hysterical. I used to work at this acting studio on La Brea and Hollywood Boulevard, and we would park across the street. I remember I posted this picture on Instagram. There was this huge black truck that I would always park next to, And the personalized license plate, I shit you not, says Maroon 5. And it was like, my thought was like, this has to be Adam Levine's car, because only Adam Levine would be cocky enough to get a car that says Maroon 5 on it. I was like, somebody already must have the personalized license plate Adam Levine. So he's like, you know what? Let me do Maroon 5. But it was like this way too big of a truck, like the big truck where you're like, oh, that guy has a small dick, that kind of thing. Huge truck, always took up 2 spaces. And I'm like, Maroon 5, this truck is even representing their music even worse than their music is representing their music, because it's taken up 2 spots. And I would always take pictures of it. And then today I finally found the reason why the Lord had me take those pictures. I got to use it in an Instagram post today. So, wow, what a day. I'm sure we will get plenty more information. And then there's another girl that came forward and said she cheated with him too, but she didn't want to post all the evidence because she has a good boyfriend now. I don't know. Let's just assume that Adam has done some cheating in his day. I feel like we could safely assume that this isn't his first rodeo in terms of, I hope this, by the way, I hope this doesn't affect the band. Oh my God. Hope this doesn't cause the band to break up. Do you guys remember them? Like, they begged to be at the Super Bowl, and Adam Levine like stripped down to his like nothing. And then the next day, all the papers like roasted him. It was the biggest mistake ever when Adam Levine left The Voice, that reality-based competition, because that was like, that kept him current, it kept him like out there. When that disappeared, for all intents and purposes, Maroon 5 kind of disappears. He has a really nice voice, actually. Remember on Kanye West's Late Wet Registration, he has that one song where he sang the background. It was before Adam Levine was, is it Chuggy? Is it Chungy? Chuggy? Whatever the nerdy word is, where I'm Chuggy, where, you're not cool anymore. But back then, people were using him on cool albums. I think he was also on Common's album back in the day, but like he was getting passed around because he had this really unique tone to his singing voice, to give him credit. But this is just so dumb. And listen, I was really trying to think about this today. I was really trying to think about cheating. I was really trying to think about the times that I've been tempted in my own life, when I've had a girlfriend in the past, when I've been married, when I've been, like what that temptation is and where that comes from. Is it insecurity? Is it just pure carnal? Like we just want more naked bodies. I was really trying to think of this, and there's not a lot of, I don't know, it's interesting. Southern Charm, to tie it in again, is that it's a really interesting show. It's not a necessarily smart peek behind the veil, but it does lift up the veil a little bit, where I know a lot of guys like this, where it's like, here's the deal. Like Craig has a talking head in this episode where he's like, here's the deal. I love Sexton. I do. It's never, you can never do it unsolicited though. They got to want it, but I love sending a dick pic. And, if you're a girl, go ahead and send them. They're probably going to be well received. I'm like, thank you, Craig. You're clearly the Michael Jordan of sexting. Like, I would love to, like, this is what I would love the government to do. They seem like they seize a lot of phones. Seize Paige DeSorbo's phone. Let's see. I mean, could you imagine the amount of Craig dick pics on there? I mean, and that actually works 2 ways. It could be his actual dick or his face. And, a cheap joke, you guys. I like Craig, actually. But I like Craig, and he did what he does best, is that he drank in this episode that we're going to talk about, and he was pounding hard. He was pounding reunion hard. So we'll get into that. But I just love, there's this ego. It's like a Housewives ego that men have, and it's really interesting. We have ego with other men, but then we have ego in terms of how we deal with women. We let a softer side of Sears out in some ways with women or, significant others. But then we'll go to our friends and be like, chicks, man, crazy, right? Cuckoo, But at the same time, these same people are like, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. It is really interesting. I think about this. I don't know. This is a very interesting topic. And I guess it's a case by case basis, but I guess you can assume if you've ever been told you're hot in your life, Or if you are rich and a Hollywood person, you're probably going to cheat. Okay, that's it. That's So Bad It's Good. That's a recommendation from me to you guys. Tell your friends. In fact, we should make a shirt. Stop sleeping with Adam Levine. We've got the Stop Sleeping with Tristan Thompson, the Stop Sleeping with Nick Cannon, which, by the way, I feel like the Tristan Thompson shirt, which you can get on SoBadIt'sGoodMerch.com, it really did. I think it made a difference. We are now, it's like at a store, or like a workplace where it'll be like, it's been 87 days since a workplace accident. I feel like it's been close to a year since we've had a Tristan Thompson accident in terms of him not wearing a condom and getting some random girl pregnant. So that's, I think, I don't want to be cocky here, but I'm going to do it. It's probably directly involved with the t-shirt, the Stop Sleeping with Tristan Thompson shirt. And you can still own it, folks. It is not going out of business. That shirt is there for you always. Now, Nick Cannon, I do have to say, I feel like we didn't put the shirt out in time, because this man is on a tear like you wouldn't believe. He eventually is going to remake the movie Drumline just with his kids. It's in a couple decades, but it's going, I mean, he's going to do it because he's not going to stop. He's not going to stop. Okay. On to further news. We got 2 more stories before Southern Charm. We're having a good time. Also, if you like this show, leave it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would mean the world to me. It really does help me. You never know. Who knows where I go tomorrow, but I want to go with all these good reviews and have a core base audience of people that like me. Speaking of that, Patreon, Selling the OC. We've been recapping that, and it's been hysterical. I did a Shooting the Shit with Maritza last night, which was an hour and a half. Also did a live Patreon. So go sign up for the Patreon. I would really appreciate that. It really helps me, and it allows me to pay Sandra and Maritza on top of that, which is very exciting. Also, BravoCon. We're going to talk about that more soon. Also, remember, if you live in Los Angeles and you know of a place with a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, I am looking for a place, and I need to be out by the beginning of November. So please give me all your leads. Do you want me to live in your vicinity? Give me tips. I've never lived by myself. I'm very excited, very scared. Also, I could be just out on the streets. You could hear me podcasting at night, just like, I'm on Melrose right now talking about Southern Charm. I'm walking down to Highland, and that chap, he's just crazy. And you just hear cars whirring by. Okay, so today the other big news was, of course, and spoiler alert if you haven't been around for the last 11 days, the Queen has passed away. And this was the final day of public memorial for the Queen. And this was the actual burial at, I believe, Westminster. You saw everybody in their fancy uniforms. They let Harry be in his military uniform. You got that creep Prince Andrew who had Epstein connections. He was there. People, though, had waited to see the Queen in state. The Daily Mail interviewed the last lady that got to see the Queen in state, and the line just went for miles to see this lady. Obviously, royalty is a very controversial topic. Lex Nico, our friend, was on here yesterday to explain it a little more to me. And it just is wild the more I learn about these guys, because I've really turned a complete blind eye to the royals my entire life. It's kind of like Married to Medicine. Like, where you're like, people are like, you got to get into the royals. And people are the same with Married. You got to get into Married to Medicine. Are you crazy? You're not watching Married to Medicine? Same thing with the royals. That might be a horrible comparison. But the Queen has passed away. This is the final day. And so we say goodbye to a queen, and we have King Prince Charles. Well, not Prince. No, he probably has to. He's probably just going to go with the king and get rid of the prince. That's what I would do. So he is the king now. I guess they have to reprint all their money. There's all these rules. I mean, I personally think, and this is just because I'm new to the royals, just do away with all of it. Now, I was reading overseas that the England energy bills have increased by 80% in these, and it'll starting kind of now. So like somebody's energy bill, and they weren't around a lot, were like 80 pounds, and then it went up to 800 pounds this month. So I'm like, dude, just get rid of the royals, take all the money we give them, give it to the people in England, and let's just, because they're not parliament. They don't do the government. They're figureheads, Maybe it's time. Maybe we end it with the Queen. Maybe it's like, we can never make another like her. Let's end it here. It's like, you know, when 6 Feet Under ended, I wanted it to keep going, but it's like, there never will be another 6 Feet Under on it. That last scene in 6 Feet Under, it's like, don't ever mess with that. Let's just stop there. You can't get a better ending than 6 Feet Under, that HBO show. Oh, damn it. Oh yeah. Also CBS got in trouble because they cut the Queen's funeral and they cut to Price is Right. So imagine you're there, you know, to pay tribute to this woman. You're an American audience and you're like, I've woken, my mom woke up. I mean, she was already up, but she was like, I'm watching the Queen's funeral. But imagine that. And then like going to Drew Carey of like, spin that wheel. All right. Okay. What are you going to play for today? That is just, that's not how you want to go out. And finally, you guys, this is truly amazing because I think it shows that we've always known this, but I think it's another confirmation, which is just nice. And to have it such a big name is that I'm right about everything. And my opinion is truly one that everybody should have. Now, Jennifer Lawrence, the film actor, last week said that Erika Jayne, villain, needs a publicist now. But get this. Now, you guys know I'm a huge Howard Stern fan. And if you don't, I'm a huge Howard Stern fan. So Jon Hamm, you guys, was on the Stern show today. And it turns out Howard and Jon have a mutual love of, guess what? Real Housewives. And this particularly for Beverly Hills. Now, Howard, I knew about this forever. I didn't know this about Jon Hamm. So this was very exciting. Two straight dudes like me loving Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And by the way, isn't this weird? I think yesterday I brought up the Jon Hamm, the sweatpants photos with his big dong, or maybe I did that on the Patreon. It's all blends together. Anyways, I just talked about it recently, and he even talked about that in this Howard Stern interview. So let me play this clip because I just think it just warmed my cold, cold heart. I loved it so much. And it's a great interview, actually. Okay, yeah, here it goes.
The Real Housewives watching. I'm fascinated by it. I really am. I resisted it for decades. I thought it was the low-hanging fruit, the lowest common denominator. I can't with this.
To show you how you can
see them
manipulate
out in the
statistics.
wild and
Actual
just
proof.
with cameras and lights. And it's just like,
Yeah,
what
it turns out
is
in
this?
China there's about 1.1.
Yeah.
Are you like me that you only?
Wait, sorry, I don't know what's happening.
Therefore, statistically, it cannot be argued.
What
One out of every 5 babies born on Earth are in fact Chinese. So you could say statistically, if you got 4 kids, you're expecting a fifth, it will be Chinese.
what just happened? What is going on with my phone? Okay, let's try this again.
Are you like me that you only watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, or are you into these other franchises? I only watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Yes, I watched that one because that one's on now. But
Yes.
the one that got me started, the first hit of the pipe,
New York,
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Oh, the New Jersey one.
Started in Jersey, then we went across the river to New York, and then we got on a plane and flew across the country and landed in Beverly Hills. I can't get into the Salt Lake and the Dubai and the
Me neither.
Atlanta. I can't get into the kind of ancillary markets.
John,
But-
everyone wants to know, should Erika Jayne give back the earrings
Yes.
that were? They
She should.
Absolutely.
She should. It's the circular argument that she doesn't, is not responsible. You just want to shake her and go, honey, they were never yours. Give them
Right.
back. And then I can't quite get, are they $750,000 earrings, or is it $750,000 per
A
earring?
piece. I don't know.
Give them back.
Are you like me?
Wow, yes, amazing. If I had sound effects, I'd do a clapping sound effect right here. I'll just clap myself. That's Mr. Jon Hamm. And let me tell you, I was a fan of his work on Mad Men, but that right there might be, and I'm not exaggerating, the best work he's ever done. At the best. But isn't that what I've been saying all along? They were never really hers to begin with. When you get into the situation that she got herself into, none of that is real. None of that. But it's good. It's good to have people that'll back you up. I love this. I feel like I feel like I want to do like a celebrity roast, but it's actually just celebrities that are agreeing with me about Erica Jane. Like we'll have a host. It could be like Ryan Seacrest or something. I don't know, somebody. And it's just different celebrities coming up and agreeing with me about Erica Jane. I'm like, yeah, she's definitely just really not on the moral high ground there. So sorry, you Erica stands out there. You guys, I did a news story yesterday where, remember, she was drunk at that gay bar Mickey's in West Hollywood. And she's like, yeah, my new album comes out. Yeah. Chills. Okay, folks, we're going to take a commercial break and then we will be back with finally a Southern Charm recap. These men, what are we going to do with them, ladies? What are we going to do with them? Throw them away? I don't know. We'll find out after the break. Okay. Bapa do bapa DTT, folks. Are you ready to come with me on an adventure of men who do not learn at all? Well, look no further than this week's episode of Southern Charm, where we get to see Craig get so drunk that I assume he pisses himself at some point. Now, if you see here on YouTube behind me, I've got Craig's Pillow Talk book and Shep's book, Average Expectations. Craig's is called Pillow Talk. Now, I was like, these guys are so competitive with each other. And then I was like, let's see book size, what we're dealing with here. And Shep's book is only 216 pages. Okay. Now, Craig, if I was a betting man, he wrote his after Shep. So it's got to be more than 216 pages. He probably looked at Shep's and goes, I gotta go past that. Craig's book is 289 pages. So Craig, if that was a competition of writing the longest book in Bravo, where's Austin's book, by the way? Where's the trifecta? Where's Whitney's book? Where's Thomas Ravenel's book? I mean, come on. I need to finish my collection of the men of Southern Charm and their books. You guys, I don't know what to tell you. This week's episode, I said this to Lex yesterday on the show, but I got to tell you, like I was saying that it's like a in the beginning, it was like kind of weird and I liked it. I enjoyed watching it every week, but at the same time, it wasn't fully gelling. Well, guess what, folks? We have reached full gel. Like it is fully gelled. I am so excited already for this next week's episode because in the preview, we see a drunk Craig tackle Austin. And Craig's one of those people like, when you look at him, he's drunk. Certain people can hide how wasted they are. Craig's not one of them. And it's always fun when you see somebody indignant and full of ego, because those are like, I was always told in acting class, if you get the opportunity to play a drunk person, don't overdo it. Play like somebody trying to desperately pretend they're not drunk. And then that will show you some of the best drunk acting, like behavior wise, you'll ever see. Because Craig's always still trying to be, let's go do some Jaeger shots, Whitney. And he's trying so hard to be like, what are you looking at? I can still make full sentences. And you can just tell he's fighting against. It's so funny. These men are so funny. And I assume, I'm a dude, so I'm sure I do this same kind of shit, but my God. So this, you guys, we are, what episode is this? What episode was it? Where am I? Who am I? My God. Okay. Southern Charm. This is episode 13. My God. I was about to say 18. No offense to Southern Charm. I want this to keep going, but I feel like we only have a few more episodes left. So we'll see. So this episode is entitled Saint Simon Don't Fight. Oh no, sorry, Saint Simon Says Fight. So I think what this is, it's doing it really sloppily, the title, like Simon Says. Like Simon Says, that old kid game, but they did Saint Simon Says, and it's like fight because there's fights in this. Listen, these people are tired. The people working behind the scenes, they're on fumes just like I am. So they're just, fuck it. St. Simon Says fight. Let's go with that. So we always start with the previously on Southern Charm, and Naomi really, I just said for the last couple of episodes, she's really hit a stride where I think she is doing some great voiceover work. And we start with the scene that we've now seen a billion times, and we see a billion times more this episode. Naomi going, talking to Leva, and Leva's like, he called you a psycho ex-girlfriend. And then Naomi goes, as Craig continued to bash me, Whitney continued to lift me up. My God, think about the desperation you have to literally say a line like Whitney has lifted me up. Like, my God, this is, yeah. And we have Naomi saying to Whitney, he said really mean stuff about me. And Whitney was like, well, fuck him. That's what's not to like, you know? And I will say this, it's like Whitney can grow mustaches like me, you know, these beautiful mustaches, glasses. He looks so much better than he did years ago, but he's still just so damn awkward in every scene. If you really focus, just even, and the only reason I say this, you guys, and why I can say this is because I have the same issue. Like, I don't know how to move my body correctly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Whitney, when he stands up awkwardly, and he's, you know, like I feel a very kindred spirit to Whitney, but I'm not, you know, like I think the difference between me and Whitney, first off, money, that I have none. But secondly, it's that he's trying to be cool. And I don't really try. I've given up on obviously I've given up on trying to be cool, but he's deep trying all the time. So, and then we have the music. He's got promise. Yeah, he's got the shine. How do they keep adding new lyrics to this amazing song? I mean, that Mia Sable sings. Like, there's always new lyrics that fit these previews completely. And then Naomi's like, and when Leva hosts a girls' night, and we go to the girls' night from last week, and saying like, oh, you guys are far closer than you think. And Taylor's saying, cheers to never being hooked up with Whitney, in regards to Naomi and Catherine both having slept with Whitney in the past. My God, that's a tough sentence for me to say. And then Naomi goes, Taylor found her relationship back in the spotlight. And Leva tells Taylor, the energy you spend on Shep is energy you're losing on yourself. And comes a time when enough is enough. Babadoo. And then they literally put in a babadoo. And so then, meanwhile, over at Patricia's, they had the annual guys dinner start off. And it was Trey Bien until Craig made it Trey. I don't even know what she said. It was a French word, I'm assuming bad. And then we cut to that night at Patricia's, where everybody's like, oh my God, Craig, that chair is about to collapse on you. And then it's like, Craig, you spilled wine. And then Chef's like, Craig, your zipper is all the way down. Just a regular bozo. They literally put this on, just a regular. And I was like, nice. This is really, whoever is doing these, like, they last way too long. They're like 6 minutes, these scenes before, but the addition of the music, the song, it always impresses. I'm like, wow, they have the technology to do that. And then Naomi goes, and after the guys learned Shep might still be swiping right. And Craig's like, Shep's Raya profile still active. These gossip websites got it. Taylor reads them, which is like, whoa, Taylor reads? And Austin's like, oh my God, bapa dee dee dee. And then Naomi goes, everything went to shit. Pardon my French. It's a French joke. And then Craig says, dude, you got to hide your profile. Delete your profile. And Shep's like, my conscience is clear. My conscience is clear. And then we get upbeat music. Boop, 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 boop. We're in the new episode. We see horses. We see a bridge. Like, I didn't mean we just saw random horses, like a horse buggy carrying people. And then we saw the bridge. And then we have that normal thing where we do that kind of round robin of seeing all the castmates. We see Austin, he's opening a bottle of spackle, and he's like, stir before use. And then he starts spackling. Then we cut to Olivia with her dog, literally on the dock of the bay. Okay. And then we cut to Craig, and he's checking out his new stove, and he holds up these two pieces, and he's like, what even are these? I mean, we are going to read that Craig's house burned down one day. I'm just telling you that right now. Then we cut to Taylor, and she is putting a pillowcase on the pillow, and she's like, Craig, what the hell? This is a Craig pillow. we did not delicately wash this pillow. And, you know, Shep's in the room and you can just tell Shep like, yeah, fucking piece of shit pillow. Fuck that. Then we cut back to Craig and he FaceTimes his mom. No, he FaceTimes Paige from Summer House. And he's like, what's up, baby? You look cute. Like, I like your headband. And she goes, my forehead looks huge. And he goes, it's just a forehead. Her forehead does look huge in this shot. Not all the time. I have a huge forehead. I used to make the joke that you could show IMAX movies on my forehead. But she's like, what's going on? He's like, just looking at the kitchen, bunch of cabinets. I think we're really gonna like it. He actually does I think we're really gonna like it, which is like, all right, man. And he's like, there's a cabinet that goes there, and this is where the stove goes. And it's inaudible. Like the audio is getting messed up because I don't know, reception, who knows. And he's like, actually, I'm going to take you upstairs. And Paige goes, I love you taking me upstairs. And then he walks up into this other room and he switches over to his Big Mac computer. I will say, Craig literally has the best podcast setup. I've seen him do other podcasts, and this is like the office that he uses. He's got the hanging mic. He's got the huge Mac. I like that he was like, I need to invest in podcast. There's something funny about that to me. I don't know what it is, but he does have a great setup. He has a better setup than any of the other Bravo celebrities. Because I like, he does take it serious. So then he's like, hey, I ended up spilling wine. I broke Miss Patricia's chair. I had my zipper undone. And Paige is like, Craig. And he's like, then someone screenshotted Shep's Raya profile. And Paige's eyes, like, zoinks, turn huge. And she's like, his Raya profile is still active. And Craig's like, he played it off, you know, like saying, I don't know how to use technology. And then Paige is like, he's smart enough to download it and get onto it. And then Craig says, I mean, what would you do if you found out that like I made my Raya active right now? And then Paige is like, I'd fly down and I would burn down your new construction. Any girl would be absolutely livid. And he's like, please don't burn down my house. And then he goes, well, Taylor doesn't hold Shep accountable for anything. He just forgives him, I guess. We cut over to Shep's house and Shep is laying. He's like, I've been thinking a lot. He says a lot 4 times, a lot about things, you know, and things you're not happy with about. And by the way, you know, the online Raya thing, like, and I'm like, oh, he's bringing it up so casually. I mean, they've obviously talked about it before, but I love that he's just like, by the way, that thing about me trying to sleep with other women, isn't that funny? And Taylor just goes, you're a loser for being 40 years old and being on a dating app. How dare you, Taylor? How dare you? I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you until that comment. I think it's cool when 40-year-olds are on dating apps. Damn it. And Shep goes, okay, fair point. You know, fair point. And then in a talking head, Taylor's like, when I saw it, I was confused why he had it. And then we're back in the scene. He's like, hey, I'm off that thing. I'm not on it. You know that. And she goes, oh, I know. How would you know? You don't know, Taylor. That's the whole point. In a talking head, Shep goes, I feel like Taylor and I are the focal point for everything. And I feel like I'm under a microscope, you know, it's like, please get off my back. Then we cut to Craig talking to Paige, and he's like, then Shep invites us to this place in Georgia, and it's just so bizarre. Then we cut back to Taylor, and we cut back to Miss Patricia's from last week, and Shep's telling the guys after he got busted on Rye, he's like, you know what? I want to take Taylor on a vacation, huh? You know, like we'll all go on a vacation together. And Craig is like to Paige, he's like, so this trip is Shep trying to control everything. And Paige says, that's so sad. The only thing you can do is have a lot of empathy for Taylor. And one day, hopefully, she wakes up and says, I deserve better. And listen, I make fun of Paige a lot, but Paige is right. That's exactly my feelings. And obviously she did, even though, like, I truly believe Shep used that I'm going to be as bad as I can for as long as I can and force her hand because I don't really have it in me to break up with her. but he, he's showing all this. He does not want to be with her. He likes her. He likes her body. He likes, he laughs with her and stuff. But I truly think, this one is a lost cause for Taylor. Like, I'm not saying that he can't find somebody down the line. Obviously, he has plenty of options. I put up a Shep's Raya profile last week. Tons of girls were like, I'd still hit it. That's the problem. I told you guys earlier, do not date good looking people or people on TV or rich people. Like, remember, we made a bargain earlier in the podcast. So Paige says, yeah. And then we cut to Shep and he's like, all this, all this strife that I've caused you and in turn caused myself, he threw himself in there. And it got me thinking, like, I know sometimes you get frustrated with me and Craig or Austin kind of just shoot off here or shoot off there for a few days. By the way, Shep, I think it's mainly probably you, like Craig and Austin. I like that he throws them in there. I think we should host like a little trip somewhere and have our friends with us, St. Simon Island. Are you down for this? And she's like, I'm down for this. And you can tell she's like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be fun. And then little Craig, the dog, is crawling over Shep, and she goes, little Craig is the glue that holds us together. And Shep goes, is he really? No, he really is, Shep. And then we get upbeat jazzy music, and we get Whitney awkwardly walking into a restaurant with an overcoat, a hoodie, and a t-shirt. Just, what an average 57-year-old man wears. He checks his hair. The plugs are working. He's tapping his finger on the table. And the waiter's like, have you had time to look over the menu? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to start with the Chateau Chavon. He's trying to impress, like, I would be like, do you have any Charles Shaw? And Naomi comes up. He awkwardly stands and hugs her. And he goes, don't you look beautiful? You're wearing your chaps. I was going to wear my buttless chaps. Strike one, dude. You made a buttless chaps joke. And Naomi's like, why do you call them buttless? They're assless. And he's like, ¿Cómo se va? Which is probably French for I'm an idiot. Who knows? And the waiter comes back. He's like, did you look over the menu? And Naomi's like, you know what? Do you want to start with a meat and cheese? And she orders in French and then ends it with a merci beaucoup, which I think is that's our food order. That's what that means. And Whitney says, this is good wine. Does it meet your requirements? He's trying to be a cool guy. And then she goes, I'm really not that picky with wine. And then he goes, my father was an oenophile, which I think is somebody that likes wine. Listen, guys, I mean, that's what I'm assuming. And he goes, and she goes, is that how you got into wine? He goes, yeah, he would take me to tastings and like, you're supposed to spit, the wine out. But of course I would chug it and he would drive me out of there hammered. And she goes, how old? And he's like, and he was like, let's just say I was younger. So then she goes, oh, how was the guys' dinner the other night at your mom's? And he goes, a lot of fun. We did try to nail Shep down on some type of commitment last night. And Naomi's like, well, let's talk about the Raya thing. Leva sent me a screenshot and we see the Dumois thing with the Bermuda, the Raya profile. And Naomi's like, it doesn't matter when he started it. Your pick only comes up if he is active on the app. So that's the problem, you guys, is that he's saying it's 2 years ago, but Shep's pick wouldn't be able to be screenshotted right now if he wasn't active, she's saying. And then Whitney's like, maybe this profile has been up for a while, not understanding what she's saying at all. And Naomi says, Whitney, you're full of shit. That's an active profile. He was dating her when he went to Bermuda. And he's like, did you know if they were monogamous? And Naomi was like, yes, they were. And she's like, it's insane to me how these men skirt around these type of things. I mean, you're on dating apps trying to cheat on your girlfriend. By the way, she's doing this in a talking head and she's drinking a Coke out of a bottle with a straw. And when he's like, in his defense, I know he's been faithful, maybe like this past 6 or 8 months. And she goes, oh, wow, that's great. They've been dating for years. In a talking head, Naomi goes, that's scum of the earth behavior. I'm not on board with this. Listen, I mean, it truly is. I mean, we all, like us guys, like we're just so stupid. All of us are. We're all stupid idiots. And Naomi goes, I mean, oh, no, sorry. Whitney goes, I mean, my view on marriage is one cannot rush richness. LOL. Of course, Whitney. Yeah. Okay. And he's like, as you know, my point is you can't force the issue. No one can be pressured. When you do pressure, it freaks them out and they go away. It's not a fucking raccoon. It's a actual human being. Like, what are you? It freaks them out. No, see, like, what are we dealing with here? It's like literally we treat these men like they're fucking idiots, yet they're plotting and scheming and finding new ways to put their dicks in different people. Like, are you kidding me? And Naomi hears this whole thing and takes it as, so you don't want me to go away? And he goes, that's right. And she goes, okay. And I will say it's fun to watch because, listen, this is probably real, but there is literally, and this is impressive, zero chemistry. Like there is, like when you're like, damn, there's couples who are like, man, they're really into each other. This is, it almost like Naomi's like, okay, like, well, I got nothing to do this year. Okay, let's do it. I'll let you tongue kiss me, And so we cut to Austin in a Jeep driving, and he calls Taylor. He's like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm running a couple errands. And Taylor goes, oh yeah, I might go get stuff to wear for the island. This is one of those awkward conversations where they need to get to point A to point B. So the producers go, okay, Austin, you have to call Taylor and set this scene up. So he goes, it's like bad improv. He goes, I haven't met up with you since Friendsgiving. Let's catch up. Let's meet up. And Taylor goes, a little shopping trip? And he goes, exactly. The banter is it's just firing on all cylinders. And in a talking head, Austin goes, I sort of feel a protectiveness for Taylor. The whole shut up Taylor is not good when Shep does that. And we get the flashback of that. And he goes, I just don't want to see Taylor walked all over. We cut to the bridge. They're obsessed with showing shots of this bridge in between scenes, you guys. And it's always the same shot. So now we're at Shep's house and he's like, hey, what are you doing, little Craig? Come here. Hey, Craigie, little Craig, you want some fried chicken? And you go, yeah. And then he feeds little Craig some fried chicken and then he takes a bite for himself. And he's like, okay, bud, let's check in on Marcy. And everybody's like, who? And it's like, oh, that's right. Shep's cousin that has been forced onto the cast. And she has been pregnant this whole time. And she shows up in scenes and we all get confused. And it turns out she has had the baby. We are saved the episode where Marcy goes into labor. Her water did not break at like a party or anything. So we see the beautiful baby and her name is Edie. And Shep's like, oh my gosh. And she goes, I've just been staring at her all day, which is got to be what that feeling's got to be like, right? For all you people that have kids out there, it really's got to be this, even though you've carried it for 9 months, it's got to be jaw dropping, like going, holy shit, the science worked. Oh my God. I mean, man. So it's Edie Cummings something is the name. And so she's here and she goes like, I'm so in love. She's so sweet and little and innocent. And Shep's like, what can you say about the experience? And Marcy was like, I was telling John, I want 3 more. First off, had no clue who John was. And then I remembered that's her husband. And I was like, okay, so they want 3 more. And Shep goes, okay, all right. His foot is actively shaking. You can always tell when Shep's nervous. He's like shaking. He's like, oh man, don't put more pressure on me. And it was like, no, she just said she wanted 3 more, Shep. Like not everything is pressure on you, which is just so funny. We cut to Half Moon Outfitters for the friend clothing shopping experience. And Taylor is in there by herself. She's like, that's pretty. And it's denim. And then Austin comes in and she goes, how are you? And he goes, hungover. And he goes, this store is dangerous for me. And she's like, yeah. And she holds up a shirt like this. You have this, don't you? And he's like, yeah, I do. And he's like, I thought you would, Austin. And then I guess we're looking for pants. It would be she's like, oh, I'm looking at these pants. This would be a good gift for Shep, right? And Austin's like, oh, why are you shopping for Shep now? You're here to shop for you. And she's like, no, I'm just thinking for Christmas. And then she's holding these sweats and Taylor's like, these sweats are made for Craig because he doesn't wear underwear. And Austin goes, that makes me so uncomfortable when he does that. just to even say it. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy, Craig, is Jon Hamming it with these gray sweatpants all the time. He wants his hog out there. And then we find out later about the sexting stuff. Craig is a freak. And I'm not judging the freakiness, but I'm saying maybe there's a chapter in this book, Pillow Talk, about like, I like to wear gray sweatpants where it shows the outline of my dong. And it's pretty cool. So I don't like to wear underwear. I like to keep it free. Keep the swimmers going in there because eventually I've got to procreate. But I'm just like, oh my God, I learned way too much about Craig. Isn't it funny? You can be watching a show for like 8 seasons and then an episode will come out where you learn so many new things that it just blows your mind, where you're like, whoa, holy shit, Craig doesn't wear underwear. I know it's a little thing, but I was like, this is huge. This is huge news. Huge. I have to call my mom. And in a talking head, also goes, I want Taylor to wind up with a faithful man who makes her happy, someone who treats her with respect. And I'm not saying that Shep doesn't treat her with respect, but I've definitely seen her when he hasn't. And then they're looking at spelunking shoes, and Austin's like, size 12, please. And then like you can tell he like wants to wink. Like, but by the way, guess who else has a 12-foot shoe? Me, this guy. So I'm 6 foot. So I'm not as tall as Austin, but I've got the same fucking foot. And you know what they say about dudes with the same size foot? It means that we like to tell people we have huge dongs, but we probably don't. That's, but it's exciting. I was like, oh, I'm a size 12. So they pick out the same shoes and Austin's like, we're twins. He's pulling his Austin Charming bullshit. And he goes, so how's Shepard? And Taylor's like, I feel like he's built up a lot of walls over time. And, he's hard on himself. And if I call him out on something, he feels like I'm attacking him. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to help you get better. Isn't it funny how these women or women in general, like make so many excuses for us? Like she's built up this whole narrative of like so many, it's like, it's tragic. It's like, he's built up these walls over time and I'm chipping away at it. He's such a good man underneath all of these walls, and Austin says, Taylor, how many times, how many times have you had to say that? And she tries to answer. He goes, 12. He goes, I want this to work for you, Taylor, but this has nothing to do with walls. And Taylor's like, really? And he's like, yeah, no, having walls is like, I'm afraid to date a person because how my last relationship was so bad that I didn't want to pin myself up. Like that, like terrifies me still. Of course, I still want to fuck people though. And I'll do that a lot, especially at the summer house. But like, there was a reason because hurt people, And he goes, that's a wall. Shep being a dickhead. It's not a wall. Listen, I read all the comments. Austin, oh my God, he said everything right. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't even act it himself. So what I'm supposed to like stand up and cheer for this guy? How easy it is to say the right thing. I don't ever do it on the podcast, but I know it's easy. But this guy's like, yeah, it's not a wall. I got a wall, and Taylor's like, you have a valid point there. And he goes, Taylor, I know. She goes, for a very long time, I just rolled my eyes and let it go. But, we are getting more serious. And Austin's like, Taylor, it's been 2 years. And she goes, here we are beginning of working on things. Only time will tell if he's really serious and wants to work. I see his heart and what an amazing human he is. And people don't see that. Like, you see what I'm saying? She's so romantic about the whole thing, And Austin's like, oh, I've seen all sides of him and I see you defend him. But the point is, it's like, what are the sweet things he says to you when you wake up? And he's like, Taylor, you're no longer just like Shep's girlfriend to me. Like, I love you. That's what Austin says. And I was like, well, we might be crossing some boundaries here. And he starts tearing up, and Taylor starts tearing up. And he's like, Taylor, just the way like he talks to you sometimes, it breaks my fucking heart. And like, I just don't like it. And there's like silence. And he goes, I don't like it. And I've been there. And I'm not saying he's a terrible person because he's not. I love him. And I love you, But I mean, goddamn, Taylor, the way that he talks to you sometimes. oh man. And the way he reels you back in, I don't want you to justify every single time you make it seem like Shep can get away with murder and there's no consequence. It's just like it breaks my heart. It's like Shep is a very lucky man, because you are a catch of catches. And that's why I want you to stand up for yourself. Not that you don't, but you're like a fucking sweetheart, Taylor. I also like this, that like, this is a conversation that Austin could have had with Shep of like, yo, I really like Taylor. Please stop doing this. But it's like, I'm going to make Taylor do it. Taylor goes, I definitely let him, run over me, and he took advantage of my kindness, knowing I'm going to run back home and something's going to have to change. Something's going to have to change here. And if it doesn't, I'm going to have to walk away. And then we get upbeat music, and we see a water fountain, and we're at Leva's house. And I'm like, here's our obligatory scene with Leva and her little son. But I guess her little son probably had some kind of outing, because we don't have that. We have Leva with her little dog, and she's trying to feed the dog food. And it's like, oh my God, does nobody film? Like, did Leva just refuse to film with people? It's like that now we've got a little dog. Like next week is going to be like a puppet. Like there's an animatronic thing. The phone rings and it's a FaceTime with Naomi. And Naomi's like, are you in a robe? And she's like, I'm in PJs. And Naomi's like, what are you bringing on this trip? And she goes, I decided I will not be in attendance. I don't think I have the bandwidth for the boys and their bullshit. And the talking head Leva goes, the boys are popping off at every dinner. And then the next day the boys are fine. And it's like, you just wasted 6 hours of my time, and you're fine the next day. It's disrespectful. And she goes to Naomi. She's like, I would just like to have fun with my kid, have extra time to do what my therapist says, maybe a date night, a date day. And Naomi says, I totally understand it. Just do it. Great, Naomi, I'm glad you understand it. Me, personally, I don't. It's like what I said last week about this. It just feels like, why are we keeping Leva around? We already know she has the spinoff. I mean, that's obviously why we're keeping her around, right? Like we're keeping her in the mix. So the spinoff, but it's like, yo, I know it sucks. We watch the show. We're with you. You're completely right. The boys are insane. And then the next day they're fine. You are right on all accounts. But this is a job. You got to show up. I'm tired of seeing scenes with your cute little son, even though he is very cute. And your dog, very cute dog as well. I don't need it anymore though. Okay. I want you to be there. It just, even if you don't say anything, it's just it'll be an extra body just to fill in the scene, you've just done this a lot this season, Leva, and it worries me, especially if we're giving you a spinoff. What happens if you don't want to go to your bar because too many people are fighting at your bar? What then? We close up shop? We have to end the show early? No, you got to get in the game, girl. We cut to Olivia and her mom. She's like, I don't know what to pack. Then we cut to Vanita packing tons of options. Then we cut to Austin packing shoes. He goes, these shoes suck. These shoes rule. He literally says that. Then we cut to Taylor and Shep packing. And she's like, Shep, get up. He's just laying in bed. And Leva goes, Leva didn't say that. Oh, no, sorry. Taylor says, okay, fine. Bye. I'm leaving without you. And Taylor says, oh, who's this? Who's this pulling up at her place? And it's Vanita. And she's like, I'm excited. I've never been to St. Simon's. And Taylor goes, you're going to ride with me and Craig. So obviously the producers won't let Shep and Taylor ride together. So remember, it's kind of interesting to think about it from that perspective of them trying to create the drama in the scenes, is that they want Taylor and Shep to not ride with each other so they can talk about their relationship. So we can get those scenes of Austin yelling at Shep and stuff like that. So we kind of, gets that tension going. Craig comes, Austin comes, and Taylor says, oh my God, Shep, look how messy your car is. And there's like just shit everywhere. He goes, there's even a coffee cup. And he goes, I wish I was more organized. I'm just not aggressively. Which, by the way, this is the part made me laugh because I say this shit on the podcast all the time. I'm like, I wish I was more organized. I'm not. Like, here's the deal. There is that Shep in all of us, and I'm ashamed. But I do want to be organized. So we look at Olivia, and she's coming down the street in a golf cart with her dad, Gary. And Gary's like, hey, Austin, I've never seen you this early in the morning. And he goes, I didn't go out last night. I slept 12 hours, which, by the way, that's weird to me. Like, I would love to sleep 12 hours. First off, don't have the time, too busy. Second off, my body just won't let me do it. This is what we've made these people. We've made reality stars that get wasted 3-4 nights a week, and then their bodies are so used to easy street that they'll just sleep 12 hours, man. I got a good 12, solid 12. Still a little tired. And Gary's like, what happened? You hit your head? Like giving him shit. We find out that Catherine can't go because of the kids, and Whitney is coming later, and Naomi is coming later. So, okay, we get in the car. Austin's going to drive Shep's car, and Austin's in the car. He's like, I'm ready to drink. No shit. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. And Shep says, we're going to have fun. And it's 3 hours away to Hilton Head. He goes, it's kind of like Hilton Head, St. Simon. And a talking head chef goes, it's a resort town. It's beautiful. It's like the setting Spanish moss, big oak trees and beaches, golf and tennis and fishing. It's how I grew up. Everyone knows it's everything quaint, you know? And Olivia goes, until we arrive, high five. And Shep's like, yeah, they're going to hate us. In the other car, Craig asks what the lodging looks like. And Taylor's like, okay, so there's a little house, but there's villas and stuff. And I think you and Austin are going to be in a villa. And in the main house is going to be Benita, myself, Olivia, and Shep, and Naomi. And Whitney, I guess, has his own villa because he's a princess, Taylor says, which is just, I'd like my own villa so I can be awkward by myself. We cut to Austin's car, and he goes, hey, what's the bet if Naomi winds up in Whitney's bedroom and in his villa tomorrow? And Olivia's like, $20. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. And Shep goes, I'll take the other side. And Olivia's like, what's wrong? You don't like making money? He's like, you think they're going to hook up? And he's like, definitely. And then Taylor goes in her car. She goes, have you ever sent a nude? And Craig's like, yeah, of course. And he folds his arm. He's, of course I've sent my dick. Of course I sent a dick pic. It's an offensive question. Of course, look at me. You'd welcome a dick pic from Craig Conover. In fact, I've got a pillow that is in the shape of a dick pic. And Taylor goes, have you, Benita? And she's like, absolutely. They all laugh, just a creepy sexting laugh. And Craig goes, I've always heard but I believe that I've sent dick pics on Snapchat. I'm a big sexter, Craig says. In a talking head, Craig goes, I'm a little biased on these rules. Like, but if you're a guy, never ever send an unsolicited dick pic. If you're a girl, no one's going to get mad at that. Taylor says, Craig is a sexual deviant. And he goes like, I think you should watch porn with your partner. I think that's like a good way to get things going. And Taylor goes, I don't want to ask what you and Paige are into. And Craig just goes, ha, 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 ha. But seriously, I've been thinking about it nonstop and I'm so scared. And it just, I mean, the things that I'm imagining Craig making Paige do, and like the websites they're on, and like, listen, they're both beautiful people, but they're doing weird things with their body online. And it's, listen, there's hackers out there, you guys. We're going to see, can you imagine seeing a sexting tape, not a sex tape, but a sexting tape of Craig and Paige? He's like, imagine I throw all the pillows off the bed and I rip my gray sweatpants on and my dong is just there presenting itself. And I'm like, Paige, check this out. And you're just laying there because you like to lay down. And you're like, come to me, Craig. And then I lay down and then we do naked stuff. Other car, Olivia's like, I'm gonna kick your ass at tennis, and Shep goes, my swing explodes. And she goes, lucky Taylor. And then he goes, I'm not playing an activity with Taylor the rest of my life, because last time she made me say you fucking idiot. Like, she made me do that, so I don't want to play with her. We get another flashback to that moment, and Shep goes, hey, we all do things we regret. We're fallible people. This is that thing where it's like when smart people try to like get poetic about something they've done wrong, of like, yo, man, like sometimes I just don't know why I get angry. I snapped. I'm really ashamed. But he's like, listen, sometimes we just do things like our brains are connected. Sometimes we can fail as people, but it's how we get back up. It's like one of those. And Olivia goes, yeah, of course. But moving forward, you know, you got to work on those things. And Shep's like, sure. Okay. And Olivia's like, that's all it is. And then Shep goes, you know how I feel about Taylor. Everyone here does. And you know what I'm going to say to her? I kind of want Taylor to quit her fucking job, you know? And Austin's like, shut up. That is so dumb, dude. That is like how you get like complete control over her. And Shep's like, I don't want control over her. I want to like travel all around the world. And Austin's like, she's then like financially reliable on you. And that is so the wrong move. In a talking head, Austin's like, Olivia quitting her job and traveling with, you know, is not necessarily the step in the right direction. And it's a little presumptuous because like, does Taylor even want to quit her job? And then Austin goes, if Taylor has any self-respect, she will not do that. And then he goes, I'm jaw dropped hearing that, Austin says. And Shep goes, jaw dropped? And he's like, you're missing the fucking point, pal. In a talking head, Shep goes, no, Austin goes, I would never ask a woman to quit her job. Growing up, I would live in a household where my mother worked. And her 3 sisters, all like the breadwinners. And, you know, it was like the source of their independence. Their work set them free as women. No, I get it. My mom worked my entire life too. You know, I mean, she busted her ass. I talk about this all the time on the podcast. Like, truly, I was such an idiot that never really appreciated like that this lady would go and work all day and come home and still make us dinner. I mean, sure, mainly it was hamburger helper, but still, that's a meal. And it's a good meal. But you know what I'm saying? And then Shep like getting like hearing all this, and he's like, hold on, gotta make a wish. He's like, every time I cross the state line, I cross my fingers and out the window to make a wish. And of course, his wish was like, what's your wish? And he's like, for Taylor not to be a fucking idiot. And Austin goes, Shep, I'm done with you, dude. I'm done. I'm trying to talk to you. And you're like, sticking in it. Then we cut to the plates. It's cute. Vanita asks Olivia, how miserable were you in their car? And she's like, -4, girl. And Shep goes, we're going to have fun. They all get in. It's a nice place. They're all getting rooms. Everybody's getting a room. And Taylor goes, oh my God, I think I smell. And Shep gets a whiff. He's like, oh my God, Taylor, you need to put deodorant on. Shit. And I was like, oh, Shep's like, oh, it's bad. It's bad. Then we go to Austin and Craig. They're going to check out their villa. And Shep's like, I'm going to come with you guys. And they're in a golf cart. Girls stay behind and start drinking. And they go into the villa. There's 2 bedrooms. One has an ocean view. So they rock, paper, scissors for it because, you know, they're nearing 40. And Austin loses because he always chooses paper. Craig's like, you always choose paper. You always choose paper. Then we cut to the girls talking about what they're going to wear for tennis. And Naomi pops in and she's like, oh, this is so great. This is the girls' house. And Shep's going to be here as well. Then we cut to the guys. And Craig's like, if the girls are playing tennis, let's sit at the hot tub and drink beer. And Shep's like, no, we're playing mixed doubles. And Craig's like, no, we're not. You have been less than 30 feet away from Taylor like in a year. Let's go to the hot tub. Like, what is it all of a sudden? Like, do we want Taylor to be treated well or do we not? Like, I'm so confused with these guys sometimes. And Shep says, I'm not doing what you want to do, dude. And Austin says, okay, let's just see. And he calls Olivia. And we hear Craig and Shep fighting in the background about tennis. And we hear like Shep goes, could you suck at tennis? And Austin says, so what's the tennis situation? And Olivia goes, we're going to play it. And Olivia says, are you trying to go to the hot tub with Craig and get out of tennis? And Craig says, oh, don't you go? I don't even know what I wrote there. Craig says, hey, don't you go play Craig? Yeah. I don't know. Craig says, why don't you go play then? And Shep goes, I am. Olivia says, don't go to the hot tub with your boyfriend, Craig, Austin. And Craig says, this is ridiculous. I thought the girls wanted to hang out. And Shep says something that I didn't write down. And Craig says, stop speaking for the girls. And Shep says, you are speaking for the girls. And then Olivia says, I thought we were playing tennis. If you don't want to, don't. And Craig says, say you're at the tennis court. And we're all of a sudden at the tennis court. Craig learned to serve when he was 16, but hasn't really played since. Naomi and Austin against Craig and Olivia. It's tied. Craig is being really intense with his swings. And he goes, I'm a competitive person who's like, I'm kind of good at like a lot of different things. Like basketball is the only sport Austin can beat me in. And anything other than that, I'll destroy him. I got to tell you, he's such a man. I have never been this confident about anything. Like even the things that I'm decent at, you would never catch me saying a lot like I'll beat his ass. Like I've never uttered that word in my life. I like what and this is kind of Adam Levine behavior right here. He's like, I bet Bahati will never know I cheated on her. In a talking head, Austin goes, here's the problem. Craig thinks he's like the LeBron James of everything, but I played my sports my whole life. Like, so play on, playa, Austin says. LeBron James, though, reminded me of Lisa Rinna's stupid quote from this weekend saying, I'm the LeBron James of Housewives. You're the LeBron James of annoying the shit out of me. You do it the best. Austin wins, and Craig goes, I don't understand it. Shep and Taylor are against Naomi and Vanita, and Shep says, it's hard for me to be on a team sometimes. I want to win. Like Michael Jordan is the worst competitor, but also he's the greatest of all times. And you're just playing a game with some friends, Shep. This isn't Michael Jordan. Come on, man. And he's like, Taylor, we need to win. And I'm like, oh, this is already bad. And she goes, I hate playing doubles. And Shep is trying to really throw. It's tied. And he's like, here we go. They won. Thank God they won, because Taylor would have been dead. Taylor would have been like, Taylor would not be alive anymore. And Shep goes, I get angry at the ball. And Craig says, angry and hope in the same sentence. I don't know what that means. Okay. We cut to Naomi getting ready for dinner, and Olivia burned her ear, curling her hair while drunk. Vanita's getting ready with Taylor. Taylor has a pimple under her nose, so that's a huge development. And Vanita goes, ooh. And they ask Shep, are the guys jealous you get to be with the girls? And he's like, they have an ocean view. We cut to Craig and Austin, and they're literally going down on each other. It's very beautiful, very romantic. No, they're blow drying their hair. That's another thing I don't do. Like these guys really take care of themselves. I don't. Like you see most, even if you watch the YouTube, or if you're my mom, you realize that I wear a hat most of the time because I haven't gotten a haircut in months. It's like so big right now. And Craig goes to Austin, your hair looks like shit. And that hurt. Like Austin takes such pride in his hair. And Austin's like, don't say that, dude. And Craig's like, please don't yell at me. And then Austin goes, you look nice. And Craig's like, thank you. And we see Craig pour a heavy amount of wine in his room. And Austin says, I just had a conversation with Shep, and he said, I'm going to ask Taylor to quit her job, dude. Was like, you're going to take her away from her last shred of independence? And Craig's like, that's classic textbook control, And Austin's like, it's like, Taylor, when I say jump, you got to say how high. And Craig's like, it's getting to the point we can't ignore it. And I'm like, motherfucker, you just wanted to drink beers in a hot tub away from the women a second ago. In a talking head, Craig goes, I don't think Shep understands the severity of what he's asking Taylor to do. And Austin's like, I was like, this is not okay, Shep. Craig's like, that gives him so much power over her, and it'll lead to resentment. We cut to Shep saying, hey, Taylor, you can juggle. They're like juggling, and Shep's juggling. I don't know, man. And Olivia says, I'm going to judge. I'm going to chug tequila, but you guys keep going. They're going to a restaurant called Mullet Bay. And so we have some jokes about mullets. And Naomi's like, is Whitney meeting us at Mullet Bay? Then we have Austin calling Shep. Austin calls Shep, and he's like, Craig and I are walking over now. So why don't you guys head outside and we can all head out? They walk out. Craig goes, hey, let's go to dinner. Shep says, I'm in a sorority house, a hen and a hen house. And Shep gets in the van. He's like, take us to Mullet Bay and step on it, trying to be cute. We cut to the restaurant in Mullet Bay. They all get out of their cars. They have a table set up. This looks kind of like a hole in the wall restaurant. Looks kind of fun, seafoody, I guess, it's cool. And Shep says, I'll sit next to you, Olivia. And Shep says, Whitney is very close. He'll be here soon. Olivia says, do you know your girlfriends found multiples attractive? He says, do you know your girlfriend finds mullets attractive, Shep? Olivia says that. And Taylor says, yeah, baseball guys. Yeah, I like them too. They got good butts. And the waitress comes up at this point and it's asked, does Shep have a good butt? And Taylor's like, he has a cute butt, but he's been taking notice of Austin's butt lately. And it's, he's like, Austin's butt has gotten so big. In a talking head, Austin goes, Shep always talks about my butt. And the waitress goes, okay, you guys want a bottle? And Shep's like, we'll get 2 bottles of this wine. And Austin goes, I think he's just jealous that I'm getting gains in all the right places. And Austin stands up and everybody they're like, Austin, oh my God, Austin. Oh my God, look at that peach. Oh my God, Austin, look at that ass. Like, it is nice. It's nice. He's got a nice bubble butt, bubble butt. And Shep, honestly, they have a shot of Shep and he looks mesmerized. He goes, like, it's like a tractor beam. Like Austin showed his ass and Shep was like, it was like truly weird. And she was like, that's a fat ass. Shep says, Austin's butt has gotten like more bulky and bigger and it like makes me want to do leg day. And then Shep goes, he's got a prodigious butt. I'm not going to even look that up, you guys, because I'm scared, but I'll probably use it in a sentence sometime next week and not even know what it means. Naomi says, you do have a fat ass, Austin. And he's like, yeah, Shep has a fascination with my butt. Craig immediately orders Jaeger shots and they're all talking over each other as the waitress is trying to get orders. And Craig goes, honestly, after you put in that first round of shots, just do a second round of shots. And Craig also orders vodka and soda. And Naomi says, okay, everybody, you have to be better at kind of listening to the waitress. Everyone is having their own conversation and it's kind of making her uncomfortable. Just like a simple thing. Like they were all talking over her and it's, listen, it's an unnecessary comment probably, but it wasn't annoying. And Craig immediately goes, how many years did you serve? I was like, in the army? And he's like, he goes, I bartended for 7 years. How many did you do? Did you work in food and bev? And he uses the word bev instead of beverage, like food and beverage, food and bev, bev. And Naomi just is blank face, like, what the fuck? He goes, I'm just asking, do you work in food and bev? Just asking you. How long have you worked in food and bev? Food and bev. If I ever do make Craig, I'm going to have him say food and bev to me. Say food and bev. Like, by the way, that's his sex scene. How long have you worked in food and bev? Eggplant emoji. In a talking head, Naomi's like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had to submit my food and bev resume to convince you to be respectful to the waitress. And Naomi goes, okay, all I'm saying is we should acknowledge her. And Craig goes, and we did. Naomi goes, fine, I wasn't talking to you, God. And Austin is telling Shep, he's like, God, it's like that point where like with your ex, where everything she says, you fucking hate her, And Craig goes, sorry, when you make a general statement, I'm gonna fucking jump in. And Austin says, Craig, she said one thing, dude. And he's like, she challenged the way we should act. And Austin goes, she didn't challenge anybody, dude. And he's like, this is stupid, relax. And Austin goes, we haven't even done our shots yet, dude. By the way, I know I'm doing them as like surfer voices, but it's just, it shows my lack of skill, you guys. I think it's representative of Craig. His head in the hand is like, oh my God, I'm going to go to the bar. In a talking head, Naomi's facial expression, Craig goes, Naomi's facial expression and her tone, like I still relate that to the bad year of our relationship. Like Craig is so strung out on this relationship. And it's really, if I was Paige, I would be kind of like weirded out, like severely. It's one of these things that like, I said this yesterday, I think on Monday show, it was like a guy got one over on, and he'll never forget. A girl got one over on him. He'll never forget. He goes up randomly, some middle-aged ladies like, you want to do a shot? We're going to do a Jaeger bomb. I will say, and I know this is disgusting, but I always want to own my own shit. My friend Lisa Renault always told me to do that. Is I still like Jaeger. Like I'll order it. Like not often. But I'll like a Jaeger and a Bud Light. Like, come on, man. You fucking kidding me? Come on, Jaeger and a Bud Light. But I do it now, and if I do it, people like are just legitimately disturbed. It's like, I guess Jaeger's a young man's game, Remember Goldschlager, you guys? It was a similar tasting, alcohol, but it had little specks of gold. So then, I was like, oh, then people were like mining their poop. No, because, and Craig goes, hearing her judgmental is going to set me off. And Shep goes, God. And Olivia says, this group has more triggers. And Austin goes, done a triggerfish. Okay. And in a talking head, Austin goes, Naomi says, I don't think the problem was me yelling at Craig or being mean to him. This is just how Craig is. And Craig is really a unique individual. And you really see how much so when he does drink, because normal Craig is very interesting. You see how uncomfortable, not in a Whitney way, but just in the, I got to do this and I got to do this. But when he drinks, he's able to be full Craig, Craig comes back and he's like, I'm good. We just don't see eye to eye on food and bev. And she goes, I've learned to control my emotions. Clearly, he has not done that. We cut to Vanita going, oh my God, they're holding hands, Austin and Olivia. Whitney comes in, so like party time. And he's like, sorry, I'm late. What have I missed? And Austin's like, Craig just like yelled at Naomi. And he's like, glad I missed that. Shots come, appetizers. Craig immediately downs his Jaeger shot. Like, we're a lot of shots. And Whitney goes, I don't do screw tops wine, but like, thank you. Okay, dickhead, bring your own wine. I don't know. Maybe they have a corkage fee. They all do more shots. Everyone's ready to order dinner. I think Whitney orders grilled flounder, or maybe that was Austin. And then Austin goes, do you know Whitney's hung like a bull? He tells Vanita, and Vanita falls over back in her chair, which was kind of funny. Literally, are bulls known for big dongs or small dongs? Like, it could go either way. But like, that's Whitney probably paid Austin to like throw out a big dong rumor. If I had access to unlimited money, I'd pay all you guys to just throw around like that I have a huge dong rumor, like just throw it out there. Like, let me be the mysterious podcaster, the bad boy of podcasting that obviously has a huge dong, and I'd pay everybody for that. Austin picks Vanita up, and Craig tells Whitney, come on, do a shot with me. Come on. And Whitney goes with Craig to the bar for another shot. And Chet tells Olivia, I don't know what's up with Craig. He's like drinking his nuts off. And then we see Craig at the bar. His nuts literally have come off. And Craig comes back with more shots, Jaeger. And Austin goes, oh, he just took like 4 shots. And Naomi is just looking at Craig. And he goes, what's up? I thought everyone was happy. And she goes, yeah, everyone's happy. Well, you're just sitting there with a frown. Turn your frown upside down, Craig says. She goes, you know what would turn my frown upside down? He goes, what? And, well, if Leva hadn't told me, you said really mean things about me at Friendsgiving. I go, what mean thing was, what are you talking about? And then we get a flashback to the psycho ex-girlfriend line. And Naomi goes, why would you say that? And Craig's like, that never happened. And she goes, apparently it did. And then Whitney's like, shut up. And Craig's like, you shut up. And then Whitney's like, I'm going to defend her honor. And he goes, I don't care. And Craig says, what's going on with your friend Leva? And Naomi's like, she's not going to make things up. She's genuinely just watching out for me. And it's talking head, Craig goes, everyone knows what you call your ex crazy, that you call your ex crazy, but you don't go and run and tell that ex and be like, Craig thinks you're like cringe. Like, what? I mean, that's not right. I love Craig always, every time Craig fails, he writes his own rules. Like, that's not how you're supposed to do it. And Whitney goes, asshole. And Craig goes, oh my God, move on with your life, Naomi. Seriously, move on with your fucking life and stop bringing me into this. It's crazy. And he gets up, and then we go, bop-a-doo, bop-a-dee, next time on Southern Charm. And we see them shrimping and golfing and playing a drinking game, having a conversation. and they're playing a drinking game every time Shep says the word happy or something else, and they're like drink, and then Shep comes up to Taylor. He's like, I'm sick of being attacked and people making fun of me. And then we see Austin and Shep getting into it, and Shep screaming, I can't believe I share the same breath, the air as you. And then we have drunk Craig fighting Austin and taking him down outside of the bar. And then Naomi talking to Leva and saying, like, shut up, Leva. And Leva goes, oh, no, we ain't going to do that. That is the end of this week's Southern Charm. My God, what an episode, folks. We had a great pop culture roundup in the beginning, and then we had this Southern Charm. Remember to use the timestamps. I always tell you that at the end. You're like, too late now, buddy. But thank you guys for listening. I'll talk to you on Wednesday. This was a solid up. I'm patting myself on the back. For a man with such a huge dong, this is a skill. This is truly a skill. Okay, you guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.